Alright, let's see. The chat's coming through. Everything's coming through. YouTube says stream health is good. And AFK. Yeah. Let's see. I'm still not seeing it on YouTube. Alright, there it is. It's popping up. Cool. We don't have that much delay either. That's pretty nice. Just gonna give it a second here and check my bitrate. I'm actually gonna go up on bitrate a little bit. Can you guys hear me all right? Can you guys hear me all right? Well, there's a lot of noise in the background. 1 second, let me figure out that noise. It's fucking awful. Unprofessional stream. Unsubscribe. I wonder if that's just the fans from my computer. That might be what it is. Oh, it's because I'm using the wrong mic. This one. Okay. That should sound significantly better. I was using my webcam mic before. That would have been awful. I'm glad I saw that. The UI for Grand MA is quite the eyesore. I disagree, sir. I think it's very effective, actually. Okay, that's way better, I think. Let me... That should sound... Yeah, okay, that's way better. I was using the potato mic on my potato webcam. This potato webcam. Okay, so I'll just get on with the rest of this, I guess. No sense hanging around. Frozen? No, I don't think it's frozen. Mic's definitely not muted either. Okay. I'm gonna wait until we get like a few more people in here before I start actually talking about stuff, so that everybody gets a chance to see it from the start. Because it'll push out a little notification that I just went live as well. And I'm gonna do some Instagram on it too, real quick. Everybody, get in here. Gotta find a funny picture to post so that people watch it. I'm sure a Harambe meme will suffice. In a few minutes, I'm gonna be showing everyone how I program my main show file that I take from show to show, how it's laid out, and all that jazz. Actually, I'm just gonna take a picture of the XSplit screen. That looks good. That. And of course, my fader wing is on the wrong set of faders. So we're gonna go wing and monitor setup, command wing. One's 15. Now I should have lights. We have lights. That's better. All right, time for Instagram photo. This is the special Halloween edition as well. I don't know if you guys noticed. Special Halloween edition of the stream. All right, Facebook, Twitter, we'll let them know. Yes, what's up, everybody? Oh, we got up to 70 viewers already, and I haven't even done anything yet. Streaming now for the next, what did I say, 5 hours? Yes, we're going to be here for 5 hours. I'm going to show you how I have all this laid out, and then I'm going to actually work on it a little bit and come up with some new ideas maybe. It's kind of like one of those DJ music producer guys have streams where they like make music on the stream, except this is lights, so it's not quite as cool. There's not as many fan girls and fanboys. My lighting, show file. For the next 5 hours. How's everybody doing? We good? Taking a break out of my spreadsheet typing schedule to do this. Because every day in October, except for like 2 days, I'm completely booked solid. So this is the only time I could really do it. youtube.com/c/Christian Jackson. I think that's my URL. All right, posted it. So let's get started. Let me full screen the chat so I can actually see it. Pop out chat. What I think of high-end systems, consoles. Never used them. I have no comment. Okay, so I'm gonna do a quick little intro for YouTube for the people who are gonna be watching this video later, and then we'll get right into it. All right. All right, everyone, in this video, I'm going to be showing how I set up my MA2 lighting show file. This is the file that you see in all my videos, the one that I take to all the concerts and shows that I do. And this is just because people have been demanding to see it. They want to see how it works behind the scenes, how I have stuff programmed. And hopefully this will give you a better idea, maybe give you some ideas for your own shows or your own creative adventures. And if you are watching this on the YouTube archive, we're streaming right now, so this is not going to be edited. This is going to be a very long video. If you have no life, if you sit on your ass all day and play video games, you could probably use this as like background noise so you don't feel totally alone in your life. Or maybe you're just really interested in lighting programming, which is probably a very, very small minority of people watching this. So with that said, I'm just going to jump right into it and kind of do a quick overview of what I have programmed already. I'm about 15% done with what I think I will eventually have as my full show file. So I'm going to show you the 15% that I have. And then hopefully in a little bit after I've kind of exhausted explaining where everything is and how I have it set up, I'm going to start actually doing some more additional programming here. I've got my command wing, my clicky command wing. And yeah, so this should be a fun little stream. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully people enjoy it. And yeah, thanks for watching. If you are watching this on the YouTube archive, make sure to hit subscribe so that you will see all the future uploads just like this, as well as you'll get notified for when I do go live or when I schedule these kind of live streams where I show people how I do things. And if that's what you enjoy, then make sure to follow me. All right, now that that's out of the way, I am going to be kind of explaining this as someone, or like I'm explaining it to someone who has a year or two of lighting experience, right? So they know what a cue is, they know the different attributes of lights, and they kind of understand the basic levels of knowledge behind lighting. Hopefully there won't be too many confusing parts, but if there are confusing parts, the people in the live chat, you can leave stuff. And I think if you like say my name, if you type out Christian Jackson and then ask a question, then I think it highlights them. It's a little easier for me to see. So let's see. I'm just going to see if I can find a question here. Yeah, this will be available on this channel when I'm done. It's gonna be uploaded probably later tonight or tomorrow morning, so you'll be able to rewatch this. So this is a question from Jacob. It says, so is this a template based on what you're most likely to encounter in terms of fixtures and arrangement? Kind of. It's more like a start file where all of my data can be merged, all my show data like cues, things that determine what lights are what color in what cues. It determines, it helps kind of like sort things out. So for example, in this particular file, let me make sure this is the right one. Yeah. So if I pull up my edit setup window, most people who are on a basic level of programming with MA, they understand the concept of layers and they understand the concept of fixtures and channels in those layers. But what I'm doing here, I'm using the edit setup, the layers here on the left side of this window as a sort of, let's see, what's the best way to describe it? Let me actually pull this screen up. So this window here is the edit setup window. So I got here by going to setup, and then you have your different tabs up here with the different parts of the setup, patch and fixture schedule, or you can also view this in patch only. The difference between patch and fixture schedule and patch only, or as it says in parentheses, live, as you might imagine. Yeah, oh yeah, my name does show up. It's a lot easier. So yeah, if you have a question, just say @Christian Jackson, and then ask it. So yeah, the difference between patch and fixture schedule and patch only live is that patch only live will not drop your DMX output. Everything you edit in patch only live will not actually interrupt the show unless you're doing things like inverting pan or inverting tilt, in which case it is going to flip the lights around, but it's not going to affect any other DMX output. Whereas patch and fixture schedule, it's kind of like when you edit fields in there and then you back all the way out of it. So like, think of it like this. Patch and fixture schedule, edit setup, every change I make in edit setup will not go into effect until I close out of it and hit save. So let me just make a few modifications here. So I'm just gonna like patch this light somewhere in here. And it hasn't actually patched that light yet. It's only going to do that once I hit exit and then say, yes, I want to save those changes. Then I'm actually going to go back and unpatch that because that's not what I want. I don't want that light patched. But as I was saying, so these layers that I'm using, there's 3 segments, 3 sections, and they're kind of, you can see they're in different ranges of unit numbers. So in this very, very bottom part, I have my current show fixtures, which actually I'm going to change to be the top row. So I'm going to cut these layers and paste them on top. And I'm also going to create a new layer, blank, that says current rig. And I'm not going to put anything in there. So I'm using this empty layer, current rig, as kind of like a tab to show where all my current rig fixtures are. And then I'm also going to create a layer here. Let's see here. Cut these, cut layer, paste layer. Cool. I'm gonna make another one here. And basically what I'm doing, I'm separating out my fixture types according to whether or not I'm using them in the show and whether or not I'm using the preset data for cloning. So I'm going to create this other section called, what should I call this? I think this is type storage, fixture type storage. Fixture type is just a fancy word for personality. It's like the MA word for personality, kind of like how MA says align instead of fan. Is that cat still living in the Pelly case? No, I closed. Actually, I don't know where she's at. But yeah, I closed the case because she was staying in it for almost 2 straight days, with the exception of eating food. Fixture type storage. So all of these layers down here, you can see they only have one fixture patched. Or that's not even patched, it's just in the layer. These serve as, think of it like cold storage. Or if I use a computer analogy, this is kind of like the hard drive, like the backup hard drive. And the reason that I have these in here at all is these fixture types actually store preset data in them. So as I go through, and I've only done a couple shows with this show file, a couple big shows at least, so I don't have a lot of fixture types in here yet. But the whole idea of this is I'm using these fixture types as cold storage, right? So if I move to a show that has some other different type of fixture that I have used previously, but not in the last time I used the show file, all I have to do is keep that fixture type in existence down here and then change it to in my current rig to that fixture type, and then all that preset data will transfer. And I don't have to go through and update presets. It's just, well, you know, whenever I run into a show that has the same fixture types, if I do a show in one city that has ZW37s, and then I don't use ZW37s for like 2 months or whatever, and I come to another show that has ZW37s in it, because I have the ZW in my fixture type storage, I can just pull that out and reuse all the presets that I already did on that show 3 months ago, and not have to go through and redo everything and hope that cloning takes care of everything. And then we have clone sources. So clone sources, each of these layers has 100 fixtures of each fixture type. So we have spot, beam, moving LED wash, eye candy wash, static LED strip, wash LED par, strobe, blinder. These ones I can get rid of because they're not doing anything. Yeah, I don't need that. Delete layer. And I'm going to cut this layer. Go down to fixture type storage. Paste. Actually, I don't need that one either. And I don't need this one. Okay, so now I have it kind of lined up here. So I have current rig, clone sources, and fixture type storage. Let's see, any questions so far? Why is the Marshmallow video down? That's a good question. Let me explain that briefly. I think I am going to make a full video on, or not a full video, but like a little 1-minute explanation video, because I've been getting asked this like 100 times. Basically what happened was I uploaded the video, and I kind of did a similar thing last year where I, oh shit, is my brother watching me? I got a text from my brother. So yeah, last year, Bumbershoot, I did a recording of me doing lighting for Chami, and it ended up getting about 100,000 views. It's got like 108,000 right now. So over the course of a year, that's you know, decent number of views, and it was one of my my biggest drivers for subscribers. So I thought this year it would be cool to do the same style of video where, you know, there's a GoPro aimed at the console and DSLR aimed at the stage, and it just, you know, record the whole thing and kind of upload it to show how that lighting is also a part of the whole setup, and that it's not all just the DJ. And so I uploaded it, and it started getting a lot of views, and I wanted it to get a lot of views, but I didn't want it to get a lot of views. And long story short, it started getting picked up by publications online that were sharing it to show the set. And it wasn't like I was taking a audio feed from the console. It was literally just the microphone on the camera. So it was like, it was not like high quality audio whatsoever. It was potato quality. It was like distorted, worse than potato quality, like Irish famine potato quality. And anyways, about little under 2 days after I had it uploaded, I got an email from someone on his team, and they just kindly asked me to take it down. And I thought about it for a minute, and I really didn't think that the video was going to get that much attention, that it was going to be a big deal. And, you know, it was just a quick email from someone on the Marshmallow team, and they just asked me to take it down. It was a real quick email. I didn't really think much of it. And I originally wasn't going to take it down because there were like 6 other videos that were like full length, same style, except not from the lighting perspective, and full audio, everything, even better quality audio on the other ones. And those videos were still up, and they were getting a lot of views. Like one of them had like hit like 100,000 views in like a week. And so I was like, oh shit, like if people start sharing the video that I made, like I'm going to get a lot of views on this. And forgot exactly where I was going with this, but yeah, they asked me to take it down, and I had the option of taking it down or leaving it up, and having YouTube take it down after they submitted a request to take it down, or something worse could happen if I didn't take it down. They didn't say anything about what they were going to do if I didn't take it down, but the industry, especially like the EDM concert industry, is very based off of relationships and keeping good relationships. So it's definitely in my best interest to take it down, you know. And the really unfortunate thing is the other video that was like competing with the one that I did, it was like pretty much the same video, is just crossing 1 million views right now in 1 month. So I have a feeling that my video would have surpassed that one and gotten even more videos, and that I would have had a video with 1.5 million views on it by now. So I kind of had to trade that back and forth. Video with 1.5 million views, have a career. So I decided to do option B and have a career. So I have the video. It's still up. It's on my YouTube. It's private. I'm the only one who can see it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the whole story. You may see that video somewhere else in the future. But for right now, I'm keeping it as like an archive of my work. So that's what happened. Every show has songs planned out. Not for me. Yeah, so to avoid conflicts like that, you do need to get special permission in advance. And it's just something I didn't do. So I was obviously in a shaky legal standing to even have that video uploaded in the first place. And I recognize that, and I'm not going to be a type of person to get butthurt about something like that. But it is just annoying when you see other videos that have basically the same footage get like millions of views. Okay, where was I? So yeah, I was talking about fixture type storage, right? So this template file is basically designed so that I can take this current rig section and delete it every show. So I'll take these, delete them, and then, well, not necessarily even delete them, but so I would take the current rig Mac 101s, and I would just repatch and renumber these based on how many they have. So if this next show had 48 Mac 101s on it, I would go to Mac number 49, which doesn't actually exist because this is a non-sequential patch, but let's just imagine that I needed to delete this many Mac 101s. I would just delete them and then repatch, and then go from here and clone all of those line by line to my moving LED wash clone source layer. So it would, that's really all it is. The first step is, delete all of these, and with any luck, the local company would advance a partial show read file, and you'd basically not have anything in your current rig section here, and you would partial show read the house rig, and then from there you would clone all of your sources to your destinations, and then you go and update presets. So that's kind of the whole idea behind having a template file in the first place. Do I always need the freeze button on? No. I use freeze, personally. It just makes more sense in my head. I use freeze and blind, not a lot, but a little bit when I'm busking shows and I need to do things in the programmer. So for those of you who don't know, freeze is, let's see, which screen am I on? Yeah, so freeze, I'll pull this one up. Yeah, all right. So you can see freeze is a button on the main screen. And it's right below blind, or right next to blind, depending on if you have an on-PC wing or a desk. And freeze, basically what it does is it suspends LTP for the programmer. So it means that the programmer will not be overwritten by anything that you play back. So normally on a true LTP console, LTP means latest takes precedence, meaning that if I have a value, like a pan value, say the light is pointed over there, and my next cue that I fire with the same priority moves the light over there, the cue that has happened the most recently is going to take precedence over cues that happened earlier, right? So it's like a list of changes. So instead of having to have, 20 cues, each with the exact information of what the light is doing at that exact time in them, you're just making notes of the changes. So if I have Q1 where a light is pointed straight up and it's not on, and I save that as Q1, and then I create a second cue where the light comes on, I don't have to say that the light is still in that position. The tracking cue list already knows that it's in that position. And LTP is just going to change that dimmer value from 0 to 100 in the second cue. That's the only thing that it knows. That's the only difference in the cue. So freeze is kind of like, it suspends that behavior. So if I am playing back stuff and I want to change my Mac 101s to white, and I grab all my 101s, let me just pull up group here. I grab all my 101s and I change the color to white in the programmer, and freeze is on currently. It doesn't matter what I do on my color picker, or my layout view color picker, so long as freeze is on. Now, if I choose, and let's just show the 101s. So as you can see, my MA3D, all the 101s are on right now, and they're white because that's what I chose in my programmer. I selected the fixtures, all Mac 101s, special dialog color picker. You can see I'm changing the color in the programmer, and I changed it to white. But over here on my layout view, I can select the different colors here. Now, what do you think is going to happen if I still have freeze mode on, but I turn blind mode on? So if I turn blind mode on, it's actually going to change the lights to that blue. So does that kind of make sense? So now I have blind and freeze activated. If I turn freeze off, then every change that I make from now on is going to overwrite the programmer. So right now, it's not going to overwrite it, and it's blind. So I can kind of tap in and out with the blind key if I have a specific color that I want to mix into that I don't have a preset for, or I don't have a cue for, or anything like that. So that's really all freeze is. It just is a suspension of the LTP behavior. So now if I do that same thing again, and this time I turn freeze off, if I start changing the color in the color picker, there's little doggos outside. You can see that the color picker is making changes, and the freeze button is off. And if I look in, let's take a look here. I don't think it actually offs the sequence because I don't have it set that way, but it will go back as soon as I clear out. So it's just two ways of doing it. Watch my screens. Oh, sorry. I'm going to explain that one more time. We'll do the main screen. So, grab Mac 101s. If freeze mode is on, my color picker will choose whatever color I want, and nothing I do in the playback will override it. Right? So I'm selecting all these colors on my color layout view, but you see the Macs aren't changing color until I hit blind, right? So if I hit blind, it's going to disable the output of the programmer and go back to the playback. And if I have freeze mode off and I go to make changes, and then I select a new color on the color layout view, it'll change to that. And it'll no longer be the programmer values. So hopefully that kind of makes sense, maybe a little bit. I think it makes sense. And the reason you see the 101s as like this gross green color when I go to white is because that's the color I actually have to program it as so that it looks white in real life. Why does the Grandma Dot 2 full size have motorized faders? The Dot 2 does not have motorized faders though. Hey, intern guy. Sorry, I don't know your actual name. So that's why I have freeze on almost always. Almost always. Just because I like to have my programmer always be what's in my programmer. I don't want stuff that I hit in the playback to start doing things. All right. So I think I have the stream thing figured out now. We're getting there. All right, so I have programmed this show file so that it can be run on any size of MA. It can be run on an ultralight, it can be run on a light, it can be run on a full size, it can be run on PC. Actually, this version that I have right now can't really be run on PC on a single monitor. I have that show file It's on a different flash drive. I don't have it here. But the way I've done this, if I hit my playback button here, you'll see my four main, my three main screens. You'll see screen 0, or screen 1, excuse me, which is the command screen. Why does that show up twice on my stream? Is that showing up twice for you guys? Display 3, display 2. Oh, I have 2 display 2s, that's why. Great. Good job, Christian. You've like completely fucked everything up. So this, that's display 3. That should be that. I'm really confused why that's not working correctly. Let me delete this. I'm going to remove this. What if I go to screen 3 here? So screen 3 works there. Sorry, technical idiocy. If only this streaming software was as easy to use as MA is. So that's display 2. What's this? Display 3. So now if I add display 4. All right, we're in business, I think. All right, that should be good for now. So screens 2 through 4, those are the 3 large main screens on the console, right? And if I hit my main playback button here, you'll see they kind of arrange themselves on different screens. But if we take a look at screen 2 here, screen 2 is like the main screen that is on all MA consoles, like the actual consoles. It's the one right above the encoders, right? So you can see this is like the main section. And I always have this as my color section when I have either a light or a full size. But I also have these view buttons down here, which allow me to change which of my playback pages I'm on independently. And so these are just different views that are stored in my pool, right? And they're all different for all different screens. So I can change independently if I want my color page to be on screen 4 all the way at the end, or if I want my positions to be on screen 2, you know, it's just the way that I have it set up so that I can pick and choose. If I have a console with smaller number of screens than a full size, I can quickly go back and forth between my playback pages. And if I wanted to make another playback page, say I wanted to make another one of these, which is, actually I want to undo that. So I hit oops to unclear this. I just wanted to delete this window. And then I'm going to do, say, some action buttons over here. And then I will change this to page color effects generator. So if I want this to just be my effects generator, as well as some color presets, and then some effects, and I want to store this in this view down here, I just click store, view 104, please. And then I'm going to copy this view to my other pages. So now on all the screens, I have this effects generator thing going on. So I'll actually keep that because that is something I want to keep. Can you connect with an iPad to the on-PC console? No. You can connect with the web remote. There's also MA app. Campsys versus MA2. Why do I choose MA2? I choose MA2 because it makes me the most money, and there's the most number of shows, and it's what I've spent the most time on. So it's kind of like, let me switch back to my main view here. So yeah, you can see now I can change independently which screen has which playback module. That's what I'm gonna start calling these from now on. These are playback modules, even though they're really views. Yeah, MA2 just because it makes me the most money. I know it the best, and that's really it. If all the big EDM shows were using Campsys, I'd be learning Campsys. But it's just not the reality of the situation. All right, let's talk about positions for a second here, because this is kind of cool. I'm going to make a custom view here. Let's go to screen 2. Actually, let's go to screen 3. We're going to go to positions. And I'm going to explain. Actually, I think I'm going to put these on screen 4. Yeah, screen 4 will be the best for this demonstration. So we'll go to screen 4. And I think I'm going to add the MA3D video. I'm going to put it, fuck it. I'm going to put it over here. We don't need this bottom section. Don't worry about what I'm covering up with the MA3D right now. So I've had a lot of questions about how I make the movements work, positions. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So this is my positions and movement screen, right? So in this top section, these are all my action buttons, and it's chopped up into 3 sections, 3 big columns that are 5 wide. And that's just how MA does it naturally in the UI. There's no way to really customize this part too much unless you do a layout view, and this would be too complex for layout view, for right now at least. So you'll notice my entire show file has everything kind of split up by fixture type. First is always spot, second is beam, third is wash, fourth is wash 2. Wash 2 can be like any 4th moving head type. But those, I only ever really deal with 4 moving head types in any show. You'll also see there is a green 3-wide executor labeled all positions. This is set to my master go button. So the master go button is the big go button. There's a small go button and a big go button. The big go button is for your selected executor. So you can select any of these executors, right? You can even select multiple executors by holding down the select button and clicking multiple ones. But I always have my all positions selected. And this is basically a stack of, I think it's like, what, 20 or, yeah, 18 cues. And as I hit the big go button, they're just different master positions for all of the lights, like the Kanye song. And it's just progressing through different cool looking positions that are all based on presets, right? And like I said, this is the master stack, so and it's just going to loop through. So I just keep going, and then when I get to Q18 and I hit go, I'll go all the way back to my start position. I also always make sure to have my start position as like, I spend a lot of time on it pretty much. So this, I think, was actually the one position that is in all the pictures that I posted of this show. It looks pretty good. And it looks a little different in 3D just because the nature of 3D modeling and versus the real world. So if I am like way down in the queue list and I need to all of a sudden get to that first position again, instead of going through the list and hoping that I count the right number of queue goes to go to the top of the queue, I just hit top on the command wing. So we'll do, let me exit out of this list. So what I would do is I would just hit top, and I also have macros on the screen here. It says top queue stack. So this macro is basically the same as me hitting the top button and then selecting an executor. So if I edit this macro here, I'll show you what it looks like. It just says top at. That's all this macro is. It's literally just a replacement. It's an on-screen replacement for hitting the top button. So I hit top, and then I click on the all positions queue stack, and it's going to fade to that first position. I can also do this thing called load queue, which when I click it, then I click the executor that I want to load from, and it'll pop up with this list of all the stuff in that list. And then I can basically say, and this is what I would be doing in advance of like a change in the song. So say I know there's going to be like a big breakdown and I want all the lights to be straight out. So I would hit load, mid straight, and now you can see it's blinking red and it says loaded 6. It still has a blue bar on start position, and that's where the current queue is, but the queue isn't going to go to Q2 when I hit go. It's going to go to Q6. So if I hit my big go button, it's going to fade to straight out. Just like that. So that's kind of how the all position stack works. And that's always my selected executor unless I'm doing something else. I've got any questions so far on that? Are gobos of any importance at EDM festivals or just beams and washes? Yeah, gobos are cool, man. You can do some cool stuff. No, what do we got here? QLC plus. I'm not showing all the monitors right now just because I'm going over the positions section of my show file. I'll show you how I create the movement effects in a minute here. I just kind of want to show you how it's laid out first. Sorry, I'm just catching up here with you guys. Take a drink of water. So yeah. Oh, my cat's back. She's very loud. How do you take the fixtures in a position for a breakdown if the effect is a higher priority than the positions in MA? No. Okay, so this brings me to a good point. So right now I'm just going over positions. We're going to talk about effects in a minute. This is purely positions. They don't have any movement effects whatsoever stored in them. This is all just position and timing data. And all of these I have assigned. So if I hit assign, pull up one of these, the options, they're all listening for the exact time. So ignore, I'm not sure why, oh, you can't see that. So all of these position executors, if I go right back to the right page here, all these position executors have ignore exact time turned off. Or in other words, they will listen for the exact time. And my exact time is controlled on one of my masters. I use it as the second one. So I'm moving the fader on my command wing. It's just a 0 to 10 second fader. So if I have this at 0, all my positions are going to fade as fast as they can with no timing. So it's just snapping the output of the DMX values. But if I bring it up to 10 seconds and I hit go, it's going to slowly fade to that position. And that's true of all of my position executors. But I usually keep it around like 2 seconds. Just because it's like a pretty normal EDM speed, I guess, for fades. Position fades, at least. So like I was saying earlier, everything is broken down. So that's like the all positions section, but I can also choose per fixture type if I want what type of look I want. So if there's something in my mind that isn't already pre-made in all positions, I can create it here. What? So loud. Ruining the live stream. Yeah, so each of these buttons up here are all positions for different types. So you can see this first one is labeled spot straight. The second one is beam straight, wash straight, wash 2 straight. So as you could maybe surmise, this all has to do with spot straight positions. So if I leave just my spots on here, let's turn the rendering up a little bit. This looks kind of bad. Oh, oops. I have to add a stage. I messed up. New stage view. There we go. All right, it's back. I'm going to turn my rendering up a little bit so we can see. Spot intensity. Perfect. Okay, that's way better. So all these spot straight positions, there's 4 cues, and it's down, low, mid, and high. These are just different altitudes of that straight position. So as I go through, just progressively gets higher and higher, and then it cycles back down to the low position. And that's how every single one of these cues is set up. It's just different types of position and then the height of those positions. So spots fan out low, spots fan out low. And then if I click a couple more times, spots fan out high. Just like that. So I can pick and choose and be like, all right, I want spot. Some of these don't have preset information, so you'll have to forgive me. That's not complete. So I can have spots straight low. I can have beams straight high. And when I turn my beams on, the beams are high. And then I can have wash X, which I don't think actually exists in this show file either. So this is like how you can pick and choose your own position looks as you go. How do you program the exec time? There is no programming involved with the exec time. You just the exec time by default will affect all executors that do not have ignore exec time turned on. And there's also, if I go back to my main view here, on screen 2, I believe. So you see down here, underneath my all positions, this is where I go through my cues here. On screen 2, there's this thing called exec time right here. And it's the same thing as moving the fader, right? As doing it on the screen. And these two faders below this selected executor right here, these can be changed. So if you click on the title bar of exec time, you can change this to program time. You can change it to speed. You can change it to whatever you want. And yeah, but I keep it on exec time. And it'll also only work if you have the set time red dot enabled. So if you have your exec time up, but the little set time button is off, then it's still just going to snap position. Hello. Do you want to say hi to the stream? Let's see. Come on. Why are you so loud? Hmm? Yeah, so that's how exec time works. It's not really, there's no programming of exec time involved. It's just a feature that exists. Oh, we got a steady 70 people watching. Do I ever busk off of presets? Hardly ever. The mouse chase. Yeah, the cat experience is great. So yeah, like I was saying, there's actually nothing involved with programming the exec time except just making sure that the little red dot is on and that the executors that you want to control with exec time are assigned to be able to do so. So again, you just hit assign and make sure ignore exec time is off and it'll follow. That's really all there is to it. And like I was saying, you can change what each of these two faders do. These are like the master faders. So my right master fader, that's the 100mm fader on the console, is controlling exec time. And then I have X fade set up so that I can actually crossfade between position cues. So as I slide that fader up and down, it's just progressively crossfading through all the cues like in a manual way rather than just hitting go and having timing involved. But these over here on the right, program time and exec time, these will always be here. You cannot change program time and exec time over here. But you also don't have a dedicated fader for these. These are just on screen. Which is why I have it duplicated over on the master section so that I can actually have a fader to control it. But it'll always be right here. Program time and exec time will always be on screen too, right there. And then I also have an all section of positions, and it's the same thing, but it just allows me to quickly go between them. That's really all there is to it as far as the positions go. But now let's talk about everyone's favorite topic, movements. And this is a section that I'm actually really proud of in my show file. I copied a few things from other show files I've seen, other show files I've been gifted, and I've kind of combined it with my own thought process. And this is what I have. So again, everything is by row. So each row is one fixture type, right? It's the same with my color thing over here. So my colors, you know, the top row is all, second row is spots, third row is beams, you know, and just so on and so forth. It's the same way throughout the whole show file. Spot, beam, wash 1, wash 2, LED strip, 5 main fixture types. And it's no different for the movements. One interesting thing that I've programmed that I think is a little bit different than how other people have programmed their show files. I have a master size for each of my moving fixture types, or at least 3 segments of them. So if you look down in the fader section, let me just pull this up here. So I pulled up my my faders here real quick. This is the fader section that controls my intensities as well. So my first 5 are always intensities. My middle 5 are like cool beam effects or just stuff that I can change between really quickly. And this third section is position size on these first 3 faders, and then speeds on the last 2. Dimmer speed and movement speed on the last 2. So I'll show you how this move size thing works, because it took me a while to figure out, and I'm not actually going to show you how I program this because it's a little bit involved, and I don't want to do tech support questions on it for people who haven't actually figured it out themselves. But typically on MA, when you stomp a fixture or stomp an effect, you have to slide the fader up to stomp the effect, which would mean when you're at 100% on the fader, your stomp is stopped the movement. But I wanted the opposite way to happen. I wanted it to be when your fader is at 0, it means that your movement size is 0 and it's just stuck on the position, not moving. And then as you bring that fader up, it increases the effect size, and then you get a larger look. So I'll show you here. Turn my beams on. Just turn the fader up. I don't know why I have to say turn them on. I'm just sliding the fader up. And we'll do beam straight mid position. No, let's do fan. I don't know. What would look good here to do this example? This will look good to do this example. So I've selected my position on my beam row. And now I'm also going to select beam circle, my round circle. The difference between beam round and beam flat, the beam flat's more like an oval, and then beam circle is a perfect circle. But as you may have noticed, the 3D visualizer is not showing any movement whatsoever. That's because my move size fader is at 0. But as I move it up, and I'll just pull up the full size executor here, you can see that the effect gets larger and larger until I'm at 100%. And we have a circle effect spread across all of our fixtures and mirrored in the middle. So this is what allows me to control the size, because the size is different than the speed, right? So I can have a small movement size, but then move the speed up. So it's like drawing tight circles. Or I can have a very slow movement speed and a very large effect size, or any combination in between. Is that making sense so far? Yeah, so effect size is how much of a percentage of the full range of motion I programmed into the effect. Do I have any gigs coming up? Yeah, every day of my life. I work way too much. Way too much. Okay, it's been 1 hour. I'm gonna do this thing. I'm just going to this is funny. I have the power to play an ad right now. How did you set mirroring? Stay tuned after the break to find out how I made the movements mirror each other to create a symmetrical effect. Stay tuned. No, I'm just kidding. Should I play an ad? I don't know if I should play an ad. This YouTube dashboard is pretty sweet. Science and technology. Is that really what this is under? YouTube really needs to expand their different genres. It's just right now, it's just film and animation, autos and vehicles, music, pets, sports, travel, gaming, people, comedy, entertainment, news and politics, how-to and style. Is this how-to? Or is it science and technology? Press 1 in the chat for how-to and style, or 2 for science and technology. So I am going to change this. 1 for how-to and style, or type the number 2 for science and technology. Or is this education? There's an education section as well. 1 deaf. Wow, there's a lot of 2s. Style. I'm gonna set it to pets and animals. Should I set it to comedy? 4? I'm gonna do science and technology. I just feel like people with the science and technology like recommendations would rather watch this video than people in how to and style. How to and style is like how to put makeup on. The porn section. Pets and animals. Harambe, heartbreak. Yeah, this once again, this video will be available, uploaded live. Oh shit, our viewers went down. You guys. No, wait, our viewers went up. All right, I'm gonna play an ad. Full screen of the cat. That can be arranged. Oh, look at that beautiful 3D. For creating positions, I'm going to go over creating position presets after movements. So we'll do movement playback, then we'll do position programming, then we'll do movement programming. How much time do I rely on macros, and how much time have I spent programming said macros? Depends, dude. There's a macro for everything. Some of them I've stolen, some of them I've made. All my color macro ones I made myself. Some of the cloning macros I've stolen. Yeah, it's just a mixture. It just depends on the use. If it's something that I need to be doing a lot, like cloning, yeah, I'm gonna use a macro. If it's something like updating positions, not gonna use a macro because it changes every time. I can't make a macro that. Well, I guess I could make a kind of macro that would save a little bit of time, but you have to weigh the value of on-site time with the value of pre-production time. So if you have a lot of pre-production time, I would, you can probably spend that time making macros to save yourself on-site time. Did Marshmallow tell you to take the video down? He didn't, personally. I explained that at the beginning of the video, which will be up on YouTube later. All right, let's get back. Okay, so like I was saying, I can control the size with this temp fader, and then the speed with this movement fader. And then I can control colors. I can even do this cool thing where, oh, I didn't do it with the, so I made this new color effects generator that I'll go over in a little bit here. Yeah, very vaporwave. The cat's name is Cool. Learn all my gear repairing skills. I learned it by tearing apart my own gear that needed fixing and figuring it out. That was really it. I just kind of learned soldering, and stuff had to get fixed, and it was too expensive to send it into the shop or the repair shop to get repaired, so I figured it out myself. I fucked up a couple times and then figured it out, That was good to go. Okay, so while this circle effect is running, you'll notice I only have 2 cues in beam circle. And you would expect maybe I would have a lot of different cues, but I really only have 1 circle effect. And then I modify it with these modifiers over here. Again, on this second row, I think. Yeah, I'm on the right screen. So let me pull up, not this screen, screen 4. So we have this circle effect running, and it's mirrored. But what if I want to reverse it? I have a button that allows me to do that. So now it's running the opposite direction, and then I can click the reverse button again, and it changes to forward, all on screen, without having to edit anything. At least not having to edit anything manually. That's the key word. And then I also have, so basically these, like this section to the right here is editing the effect pool item for beam circle. So I have beam circle active over here, and this direction and groups phase thing, those are all just making modifications to the MA pool item. Yeah, I'm going to LDI 2016, and I'm going to make videos about it. So I'm going to be taking a camera. Hopefully we can meet up there if you're interested. So let's change this direction back to forward. And then I also have this groups thing. So if I have set my phase to 0 through 360, if I set my groups to 1, it's basically going to, oh, why is it not working right now? Why are you not working? Assign beam moves. Let's go back here. This should be working. I don't know why it's not. Assign effect 1073. Why is it not working? I'm very confused. Or is it working? Oh, it's working. I was just confused. I was just being stupid, that's all it is. No, it's not working. I'll try with tilt. So why is backward working, but groups isn't working? Assigned beam moves. Maybe, oh, did my user variables not work? Beam moves. Effect 1073 through 1079. That's right. Did I have like something in the programmer that was fucking that up? I need to figure out why this isn't working. Anyone have any ideas here? It's changing it in the... This is very strange. How can I live in a city with all that traffic noise? I moved out of Seattle. This is like far away from Seattle. Oh, I figured it out. I think I figured it out. I'm really not sure why it's doing this. Unless there's like another effect running somewhere. I'm just going to turn everything off. We'll do our start position again. Bring our beams up. I'm really confused right now. Because it's editing the effect just fine, but it's not actually doing anything on the output. I am thoroughly confused, guys. Because this was working just fine before. I don't think I did anything to it. Tilts. Straight. Blocks of 4. See, it's not even following blocks of 4, but it is in the effect. Yeah, maybe the link broke. That's the only explanation I can think of. Let me just try to overwrite that queue. So I'm going to do circle, store circle. Wait a second. I see what's going on. I see what's going on. So there's 136 fixtures in this effect, but I only have 36 actual fixtures. So what I do to fix this is I need to go select my groups, my symmetrical selection groups. So I'll do beam sim. Now this is very strange. Okay, so this is the bug I was talking about earlier, and this is why it's not working. Look at all of these duplicates in my layout view. It's very, very frustrating to deal with this, and I'm not sure why it's doing it. So what I'm going to do temporarily, I'm going to delete everything except for I'm actually not going to delete, I'm just going to delete the clone sources. And this should get rid of those in my layout view. Alright, so now my layout view is fine. Mystery solved. It was like a cloning bug where when I cloned data, it also like made duplicates of my channel numbers in my layout views. Very weird. Now if I do... Okay, we're back in business. Let's try that again. I will definitely not edit that part out. I think they fixed that in the new 3.2.2.11. I've downloaded it. I'm still on 3.125. No, 3.2.2.12. Baller. All right, so we're back. Now we'll be able to actually do this for real. For real this time. So let's go back. Start of this lesson section. All right. Now I can actually explain how this is working. So the beam size, all that stuff is still applicable. Let me clear out here. Except, did I delete my dummy fixtures? I think I deleted my dummy fixtures. I totally deleted my dummy fixtures. No. Let's see if I can oops back far enough. Nope. I'm fucked. But that's okay. I'm just going to reload this file. And I'm going to switch to a different screen so you guys can't see my password. 1 second. Yeah, I blew it. All right, we should be back now. So I'm gonna go through, delete those fixtures except for dummies. Don't delete the dummies this time. No dummy fixtures. Now we should be fine. We'll see. I might have to delete these. Okay. Now that I've figured it out, let's double check in layouts here. My Viper still has duplicates. No, that's right. Never mind. They're just not positioned correctly. Okay, 5R beams. So if I do a symmetrical selection, and a symmetrical selection basically just means that it's following like a lassoed path in order. So you see if I am nexting through this and I bounce back, it's following like a symmetric line. If that makes sense. So if I grab positions here, try this one more time. Screen 4. And I will switch wing setup, screen 1. Okay. Lights. Let there be light. And I choose beam circle. And I bring up the size a little bit. And I'll make them straight out. Okay. I'll do straight low. I will make them red so that it's not that difficult to look at. Colors. Beam red. Okay. So we have the circle effect running, and now I can modify it using this groups executor. So if I do groups of 1, it all moves together as if it was 1, but it's split in the middle because I have a wing of 2 on the effect by default, and I don't want to change that. Well, actually, it's an effect -2 on the pan. But if I change it to 2, it creates, and this is one that I used a lot in the Marshmallow video, this group 2 beam effect. And so I can speed it up, make it a smaller effect, and it's just a mirrored group of 2, -2 wings pan. It's a really cool effect. If I change it to 3, then it creates like a 3-pointed star. So you can see, you kind of make out that there's three distinct 120-degree separations of each beam. And then 4 creates like a 4-pointed look, so on and so forth, all the way up to 8. And then when I go all the way back to group none, it just creates the none circle. And then I can change, like I was mentioning earlier, the direction forward and backward. Yes. Very cool, huh? So if I do the 3 thing, I can change the direction on the fly. All on the screen. Does that much make sense? Do you have any questions? How far away from Boeing am I? I'm not going to let you triangulate my house position. Did I use MA stick maker? Yeah, when I need to update console software. And yeah, my keys are clicky. They're MX blues. And unfortunately, I can't do black lights. I can do like UV, Congo. Is that good enough for you? On this special Halloween edition of the live stream. Yeah, I'm going to make a full color layout view tutorial. High-low values for circle waveform. So let me open up that screen. So if I edit this circle, I'll go to selective effects, go to Sharpie circle, and then you can take a look here. Screen 4. So this is all that circle is. It is literally just the default predefined circle with a -50 and +50 pan and tilt ranges, width of 100, and then make the pan wings -2. Because if I change this to just 2, it's not actually symmetrical. The negative part is what does it. So if we do like a 4 or -4 and a 4, it's actually like 2 different sets of counter rotation. And so what I could do, oh wow, thanks dude. Poisonous Game just donated $1. That's way too kind of you. I don't deserve it, but thank you. And we have, oh wow, 0 dropped frames, streaming at 3,000 kilobits per second. That's not too bad. So thank you for the $1. That actually is awesome. So let's say I wanted to make another, like, I call these modulators for my effects, just because it's a cool word, no other reason. So say I wanted to add another section in here that was wing modifiers. So I just stored a blank executor. There's no data in here. I'm just gonna name this wing types. What I'm gonna do, there's nothing in this queue, but I'm gonna go to the command section and pull it up on this screen. So I go to command, I right click on it, and I'm gonna enter this. Assign effect, oh wait, I'm gonna assign, since I have a user variable for this, I have called these beam moves. Assign beam moves. Let me think how I can do this. /wings equals -4 through 4. Let me see if that will actually work. The reason I have a little bit of pause about whether or not this will work is because there's 2 lines involved here. So the pan line and the tilt line. And up until now, I've been just assigning the entire effect and changing both the pan and the tilt lines. I'm curious to see if this will work, and I'll be able to, I'm just gonna pull up a, where is it? Why can I never find it? Command line, there we go. Do an entry bar. So that won't work, I don't think. No, that won't work. So let me see what I did here. So we'll copy this because we know this works. We're gonna go back to our wing types. Go to command, paste that in, and I'm gonna change this to /wings. Beam moves. I wonder if it's possible I'm learning a lot today as well, it seems. So that changes the line of both pan and tilt to be wings of 3. So now if I go in and edit that effect, the wings will say 3. But I want this one to be -3 and wings, or for the tilt to be 3. So what I can do, I can assign, I'll have to create another user variable, I think. Because what I would normally have to do is I would say, let's pull up another command feedback here. Okay, so what I would do if I wanted to just change the pan to -3 wing, or -4, we would do assign effect 1073. That's my circle effect. .1 / wings equals 3. And then I'm going to do a semicolon, and I'm going to copy that. Whoops, I'll change that to -3. And then I will change this .1 to .2. YouTube gaming. Not into YouTube gaming, to be honest. Okay, so now you see I have assign effect 1073.1 / wings equals -3. So that changes the pan line. Since pan is line 1, the .1 of effect 1073, and tilts is the .2, the second line of effect 1073. So now if I do, I'm actually going to change this to 4, so it actually -4 and 4. I'm just going to copy this. Object does not exist. Why does it not exist? 1073. So when all else fails, I consult ACT. ACT Lighting. They have this support document that basically shows you exactly what you can type into the assign. MA2 syntax options and summary. Sorted by object, assign effect, X. Yeah, I might have to do 2 separate entries. Let's see, I thought you could do it in one line with a semicolon. Object does not exist. So I just looked this up on the ACT site, and they're saying you have to say effect 1.y.z, where y is the effect number and z is the line in that effect. But I don't know why it says 1 in the front of it. That doesn't make any sense. Effect 1 dot blah blah blah. So let's just try it. Let's try what they say. ACT can do no wrong. And here's a tip. If you just click up on your command line, it'll re-enter your last entry. Assign effect 1 dot where y is the effect number and z is the line. That is not working. I don't know why. Anyone have any answers? I'm supposed to be the guy with the answers, I realize, but right now I don't. For some reason it wasn't even submitting. One dot. Okay, there we go. So that's kind of weird. I don't know why MA has it set up like that, but you have to do a 1 in front of the effect pool number. Sweet. So we got it figured out. So let's finish this off by going back in here, copy this into the command link of that queue. Assign effect 1073.1/wings equals -4. And then we'll do a second line of +4. Create our semicolon. And then I'm actually going to make this first queue normal. So we'll do a -2, and we'll call this normal mirror. Then I'm going to create a second queue. Create second queue. And I'm going to copy this line. Come on, copy. Paste it in here, and then we're going to do -4 and +4. Now, when I go between these two, I'm going to bring it up. How many watts do you need for a laser on a festival? I don't know anything about lasers, really. You'd have to ask someone who's very good with lasers. I'm not one of those people. All right, so we'll do group 3 full. Oops, group 2, I mean. Group 2 full. And let's just pick beam straight down. Okay, now let's try our circle. Beam circle. And we'll bring the size up. And we'll change the wing type to normal. And then we'll do a section of 4. Okay, so now you can see this is our wing of -4 and 4. So there is a difference. This is wing 2. And this is wing 4. It's actually, I actually really like that. So I think I'm going to keep that. And then we'll do like a wing 4. Then this first one, wing 2. Cool. And I'm probably only going to ever have that apply to the circle effect. I don't really care about the other ones having that. Yeah, and you have to remember the wattage of the laser diode is not the same as the wattage of the laser as a unit. So just because it's a 1 watt laser, that doesn't mean it takes 1 watt. And yeah, at that point you need a certified laser tech. Whole different ball game. Okay, so I think I've covered the movement playback pretty well. We changed direction, all this stuff. Number of wings, the phase offset, things like that. So that's all how I have this page set up. So let's talk about the color layout view, because that's probably, I don't know, one of the most popular questions I got. Do group 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. All right, so I have all my lights on here, and my color picker, I call it a color picker, but it's really actually just a color layout view. It allows me to pick and choose whichever colors I want based on the fixture type, right? So this top row switches all of the color changing fixtures, okay? And it fades at a default of, I think, 2 seconds on fixtures that can fade. So if it has like a color wheel where there's just fixed colors, it's not really ever going to be able to fade. You can do some like slow transitions between 2 colors, but you're always going to see some sort of snap or some sort of transition. And but this color fade applies to color mixing items or color mixing fixtures. And I control the time of the color fade with these color fade options here. So you just tap the fade time you want. So if I want fade 0, they're all going to snap, including the color wheel and all the mixing colors. And then below this, you can choose, like if I want all the fixtures to be red, except for the spot, I do the top row all red, then hit spot in white. Or I can have the spot in yellow, and then choose I want the beam to be in magenta and the wash to be in yellow. It's just a really quick way for me to visually see where everything is, and it really helps out touring LDs. Color wheel should just be banned? No, man. Color wheel is actually pretty cool. And I'm not saying that sarcastically. The reason being, you can quickly bounce between colors, and it's like a strobe effect almost. So, yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with color effects at all, man. Or with color wheels. For example, I have these bumps on my lower 100 series executors. One of them bumps the color wheel up 1 slot. One of them bumps them down 1 slot. And yeah, it's all per type here as well. So as you'll notice, everything in the whole show file is sorted out by type. Spot, beam, wash 1, wash 2, LED strip, LED 2. Those are the only color changing fixtures that I'll have. And then something I've just made. Let me load the show file here. Check all. Oh, nobody's going to see my password. Oh, so this is like a cool thing that I'll just show you. So the way I have my show file set up, it protects some of the data from being stolen by people who I don't want to have my stuff. So when you load the show file up, there's a little macro screen that pops up on all the screens. And you can choose how to log in. If you're like the ME, you can log in and see just the pertinent data that you need to see. But I'm going to load my show file again and switch the screen off. Okay. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, I need to do wing and monitor setup again because I changed the show file. All right. Oh, there's an airplane outside. That's great. That'll be great for the noise in the background of this video. Underneath the color picker, these media file things you see, this is actually for, this is not for the show file 3.1. That's for my 3.2 show file. And that's like, that's something I can go into later, but it's basically images that I can have scroll vertically or horizontally or rotate on the entire rig with the pixel mapper. So that's what that's for. It's not quite done yet. It's something I'm working on. Hopefully it'll be done soon. Color chases. Let's talk about that while I'm here, because I wanted to actually modify the way I have it set up. So I'll do that live now. So I have this effects generator. We've already kind of just gone over this color picker and how it works. And it just makes a lot of sense. It's super easy to use. Once you understand which fixtures are what, and then where the fade time is, then you're all set. There's nothing more to say. I think I will actually, no, I'll leave the color fade down here. So let's talk about these LED strips and my effect generator that I've made. First of all, I'm going to move this over here. I'm going to make this a temp fader. I'm going to set the priority to high. Okay. So you see my lights, my color forces are purple right now, or magenta, whatever floats your boat. And if I wanted to make all the different possible combinations for chases, I would have like 500,000 different cues. And GrandMA doesn't even support that many cues. So instead, I have this effect generator that I've made. It's in the upper right-hand corner of this screen. I think I'm going to switch screens here so that you can kind of see a little better. Not that one, this one. I'm going to add the 3D view as well here so we can see what's going on. 1 second. Game capture, MA3D. Do the same thing down here as before on the other screen. Okay. So, I have this cue. It's literally just an effect. Okay. There's one single effect, and let me pull up that effect. Where is it? Where did I put it? Yes. So these effects here. So I have spot gen effect, wash 1 gen effect, wash 2 gen effect, LED strip gen effect. This playback screen is, these are all just different macros in cues. So if I pull this up, that cue is literally just triggering or editing different lines of an effect. So what I do is I say, okay, when I bring that fader up, the one that I just moved over to a different screen, I want my LED strip to be active, meaning that it's included in the effect. I want the first color to be white. I want the second color to be red. I want it to be a pulse width. I want 2 wings. I want it to go forward with blocks of 4. So now in theory, let's see if it worked. Now my effect runs when I turn the fader up. So it works. So I just have this fader that I can bring down. I can change the parameters. So I want it to go between cyan and lime in groups of 8. Now when I bring it up, it works. And I can change it on the fly as well. And change to blocks of none, or something like that. So you can see when I zoom in here, it's mirrored. And it's doing the whole blocks and effect chase cool stuff. That was a highly technical term. If I turn them off, then they go off. Turn them on, they go on. And if I fade that fader down, then they're no longer active. Same thing works with spots too. So if I do things with the spots and bring it up, then it works just fine. But if I bring the fader down, so I can fade back and forth between those two. The one thing I still have to kind of figure out is how to deactivate them one at a time, so I don't have to worry about weird bugs, things that look weird. So now all the lights are going with that chase. All the moving lights, or the lights with color mix parameters. And I can change this on the fly too. So if I want the first color to be purple, the second one to be blue, or magenta and blue, it's chasing. And then I can change the groups back to groups of 1. Pretty cool. Groups of 2. None. We can do no wings. We can do a sine wave. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then I can fade it back and they all go to the color. And then I can also do it so like when I have the effect faded up, I can then change in the background all my fixtures to yellow. And now when I fade this down, they'll fade into yellow based on the time. So my color fade time was at like 5 that time. Let's do that again. So they're doing their color thing, and then say I want to change them to red when I bring the color effect out. Change it to red on my color view, and then bring the effect generator down, and they change to red. And so I can bounce in and out of the effect generator. Pretty fucking cool. All right, questions? Show you how to set up the login screen? Yeah, that's very doable. Okay, so I just covered the color effect generator. I haven't really showed you how it works. I'm not really going to show you the in-depth stuff of how it works. It's just editing effects. That's all it is. Okay. The second row is just copying a preset. So let me just go over this in depth once. And hopefully that will be enough information for people who want to figure it out to investigate a little more. So this whole section up here is all macros. They look like queues. I know they look like queues. They look like executors because they are executors, but there's no queue data in them. All it is just these, they're just visual indicators for me. It's like a poor man's layout view, okay? I'm just cycling through these queues, and it's just changing between the two colors. So I can do white to pink. Let me fade this up to make sure it still works. Yeah, it still works. White to pink. Awesome. But all this is doing is editing certain effects. So if I look here, copy preset 4.1 at 4.101. So let's just go look at the colors. So copy preset 4.1, that's this white preset. Let's scroll down and see where 101 is. So I see 101, the name of that effect is high effects, and the one next to it is low effects, which I didn't even see it. It's down here. So all it's doing, all that little, that line is doing is copying an effect from my presets up here, my color presets, to one of two of my effect presets down here, the low effects and the high effects. And then these 5 separate effects down here, one for each type, are referencing these two. So if I look at LED strip, pull it up on screen too, it's just changing the low value and the high value. That's all it is. This effect is just, it's not, the effect actually isn't being changed, just the preset is being copied. So I can do it manually here. Copy lime at low effects. Please overwrite. So now when I bring this effect up, it's going to go between lime and magenta and pink or whatever. So I just did that manually. And that's all that these macros are doing. Okay, it's just editing that effect. That's it. And then I have it controlled on a fader on the desk, so I can fade in and out. Actually looks pretty cool. Halfway through, 50%. Why are my fade sequence in go mode instead of toggle mode? What do you mean fade sequences? Oh, those. It's because there's no data in them, so I actually can't overwrite one another, right? I suppose I could do like a dummy fixture, but there's no data. There's no fixture data. There's no like timing data. It's all it is. I just need to click one. There's no reason, like commands in sequences don't work with toggle. They'll go with a toggle, but you can't, there's no like untoggle Q command link, if that makes sense. So when I'm going through a list, it's just firing a macro. If I turn off the Q, it's not unfiring the macro. Like it doesn't work that way. It would be cool if they implemented something like that, but what I would have to do is I would have to say, if I wanted them to only show on one, so that only one was blue at a time, I would have to add off sequence 994 through 997, I think, or off executor 14.177. Okay, so I'll show you real quick. 14.177, 14. Okay, so it would have to say off exec 14.177 through 14.180. I'm going to now copy this into the color fade 0 Q command link as a second part of the command. So now when I hit this, the other ones are going to turn off. Okay. I'm also going to modify that slightly. So I'm going to go in here, I'm going to copy this out, and I'm actually going to make it (166 through 180) minus 14.177. Okay. Then make this one 178 since that's that current queue. And then this one will be, whoops, I have to do a semicolon to indicate that there's a second queue or a second command that you want to have. Okay, so that was actually a good idea. And I just added it in, minus 190 or 180. So now when I click each one individually, it will off the other ones, even though there's no data. Why do I have color timing for all, wait. Can you clarify your question? Why do you have color timing for all fixtures and not for fixture types? I'm not sure what you mean. But yeah, this the color fade thing, that's a good indicator. It's a good visual thing to be able to see what's going on. Overwrite that. You guys are giving me some good ideas for stuff I want to add in. Hopefully this isn't too boring. Any other immediate questions? Just let me know. Never thought my show files were this intense. Who do you think I am? Come on. What else can I show you guys? Oh yeah, so I always have like, so I have like this like, the first 6 faders on all my show files are like my happy faders, the ones that always are the same thing no matter what. And it's always the first set of intensities. So we have spot, beam, wash, wash 2, or LED strip in this case, since I don't have a wash 2, then atomics. So it's always in that order every single time. And then below that, I have sync strobe on my first queue. Actually, can you guys even see any of this? Yeah, you can. Okay. Then my second queue is random strobe. Third executor is white spot. Fourth executor, beam spot. Fifth executor, strobe hit. Every time. It's the same on every single show file I do. Do DJs make famous DJs do presets? Yes. Yes, they do. Have I been to the Dominican Republic? No. I mean, the fade time for color fixtures are for all fixtures at a time, but you can't choose. No, you can't. That's in my opinion, that's a waste of space. I don't mean that you're a waste of space. I mean that if I had per fixture type, that would be a waste of space. I could. Now you got me thinking. If you used user variables and man, you could do this. Like I think it's one of those things where it comes down to, is it really worth it? And it's 100% possible, and it would take about 30 minutes for me to do it. But basically what I would do is I would create a second set of queues down below this. And then this first one I would name all fades, all types. The second one I would name I would name this one spots, spot fade, spot types. Then I would make another one, assign. Beams are almost never color changing or color fading, so I would just skip that entirely and go to wash fades or wash types. Do M wash types for moving head wash, or MH wash types. And then I would do strip types as well. And then I do LED2 types. And then what I would do is I would make commands in here, and it would be very much like this color fade thing, where I would be using conditional expressions where this, if I have spot types selected, or all types selected, it will change a user variable, and then the color fade will only apply to those that have the user variable set to 1 or 0. So 1 being on, 0 being off. So then I would make these, I would have to make these 2 queues. Why you gotta make me think like this, man? So we do 2 queues. Actually, the first one doesn't have to be, I don't think. And then I would do set var all fades equals 1. And then I put 1 in parentheses. So now if I pull up all fades, why is it, what did I do wrong? Set var okay, so yeah. Now that I have set that variable to all fades equals 1, I would then add into my color times a conditional variable or a conditional macro that would only fire the fade times for those specific types. That's how I would do it. I don't really do big shows with just a wing. How come when I see when I use 3D and patch and LED strip, I can't see it? You probably have to rotate the fixture. It's probably facing straight down. How do you program cues onto the X keys? What do you mean? You just hit store and then you press the X key. That's really all there is to it. Oh, I forgot to go over the intensities. All right, so in this part, I'm going to explain the intensities setup that I have. In this particular rig, I have 6 fixture types that have an intensity parameter, and I just happen to have 6 faders on my command wing. So what the fuck are the odds? So like I was mentioning earlier, my first set of faders is like my happy faders. And I'll just show you on the screen here. Let's see if I can do a larger inset view. Yes, so this works better. I'll show you this like this. So, first fader, like I've mentioned before, is spot type. Second is beam type. Third is wash. In this case, it's a Martin 101. Fourth is strips. Okay. Fifth is atomics. And then sixth, I'm not sure why it got deleted. Let me just store it real quick here. We had blinders. So blinder, full, store. Now they're stored. Okay, now I have control of them. Then I'll hit assign, just name them blinders. Lowercase l. So now I have blinders. So these are the 6 fixture types. And this is what they look like when they're all on. But I don't want them all on all the time. Sometimes I want to be able to tap in between 2 sets, do like some build-ups, some cool looking chases manually between the types. And if you look below, actually I don't think you will see my flashes on the keys because the executors are always on. They don't auto stop. So the way it's set up, so there's 3 buttons above the, there's three buttons on each executor. There's the top 2 and then the bottom one. The The bottom one I always have set as flash, so you can't see it on the screen unless I think if I off this first executor. So you see how I am, when I hit the key, you can hear my clicking it in the background, it flashes it on. I always have this bottom row set to flash. The top row I always have set to top. And it just so happens that is named top, the function is named top. But what top does is it allows me to always jump back to the first cue in this sequence. Go puts me into the next one, and the next one, and the next one, depending on how many times I press it. So if I bring my fader up, we see the spots. And we can see I'm in Q1, which is full. If I hit top, nothing's going to happen because I'm already in Q1, which is the top Q. If I had a Q that was stored as 0.5, that would be the top Q. It doesn't always have to be 1. I could store, 999 extra Qs in between 0 and 1, and one of those could be the top Q, as long as it's the first one in the list. If I hit go, my fixtures are going to chase with an effect that I've programmed. And I have a couple of these built up, and I'm just progressing through all of them, and they all have a slightly different look. And the intensity fader still controls the intensity. It's not controlling the speed. The speed is actually controlled by this fader at the very end. So if I pull that up, you can see there's one called dimmer speed. And as I bring dimmer speed up, it will move faster and faster. And I can bump these to white while I'm doing this and create all sorts of cool chases. And if I hit go again, I'm just going through all of the different chases that I've made for the spots. I think I have like 8 different ones. So there's all sorts of different flavors and different looks. And the last one is always like a random thing. Then when I go back to top, we're just all the way back at full. And like I said, I can control the intensity of all of these and the speed of all of these and create a lot of different interesting variation. So let's slow this back down for a minute. Let's bring up the beams, and we can see maybe a little more clearly how the effects look with a lot of fixtures. It's the same story with the beams. So I can just progress through all these different cue lists, or all these different cues in this list. And they just create different looking dimmer chases. And they're all master controlled through the first, these first 5 faders per type. So I can have it just barely on. And then the cool thing about this setup is I can also flash the effect in, and then it returns to its previous fader level. And the way I have these assigned, let's take a look at my fixture assign, or my executor assignments here. Bring this down a little bit so you can see a little better. This is how I have the playback sequence assign options set. Auto start means that even if the cue list is off, if I move the fader up, it's going to activate the cue list and it's going to be active. The reason I have auto stop turned off is if I had it turned on, it would mean that every time I brought the fader to 0, the cue would actually be turned off. And that would mean that, for example, if I turn it off now, it will restart the cue at the same point every time. So see, as I flash in, it's always starting from the same lights every time. So if I just flash, you see how it's always the same lights that come on first? I don't really like that look. Whereas if I turn auto stop off, if I bring the fader up even just a little bit, it's going to activate the cue. And now, when I flash it on, even when the fader is at 0, it starts in a different position. So it allows me to like flash in different hits of the dimmer effect, and it still looks like a continuous dimmer effect. That's why I do that. How my fader keeps priority on dimmer. Aren't they dimmer effects? Oh, so this is like a little nuanced thing. It's not actually controlling the dimmer size with the fader when the effects are going. It's controlling the height of the effect. So it's not actually controlling the dimmer value. It's controlling the dimmer effect size. With the exception of the first Q. The first Q is controlling the dimmer value because it's a full Q. So the first Q in all of my my dimmer effect stacks is always a full Q, and it has it has a stomp dimmer effect and full value. That's all it is. How do I create the color palette macro that I always use? I just went over that, and I'm not going to go over it again real quick. Or how do I create it? That's a different question. I did not go over that. That's going to be a different video, I think, unless I have time at the end of this stream. Basically, I'll just kind of briefly go over it here on the small screen. So these are all my color macros you can see in this red section up here. And these macros are what are telling what sequences to fire, right? So if I pull up beam, let's do, where is it? So if I pull up beam white, I just I click on these macros, and they are all firing and changing the color. So these macros are being triggered by the layout view. Trigger warning. If you look at my layout and then my command line feedback, all of these buttons are doing, they're saying, like, for example, this beam red button, I think it is just saying go, it's macro 865, which is red beam red. So that's all of these macros, or that's all that these images are. These are just macros on the screen that have an image on them. And then this macro, if I pull it up here, is just saying go sequence 1042. So let's pull up sequence 1042, which is beams red. And then I can also call all these sequences here. So these are just rows of the different color sequences. That's all it is here. So these sequences are what have the color information in them, actually, the color fixture information. All right, so hopefully that kind of explains it. Yeah, it's a little complex, but it's worth it in the end, I think. So you got to do cool shows, man. Pixel mapping. So I just bought 16 Elation pixel strip 40s, I think. So I'm going to be pixel mapping those at more shows, more of my own shows. What else can I go over? I feel like I haven't gone over anything. Yeah, spooky season is in full effect. Too spooky. Oh yeah, the login screen and creating effects from scratch. Okay, so let's create a chase on the LED strips from scratch. So I have, luckily, let me find color chorus. Clone source, delete layer. Okay, LED strip symmetric. Okay, so let's make an effect. I want to make a, let's do an odd even chase effect on the color forces. So what I will do, I'm going to open up an effect pool. Excuse me. When I talk for a long time, I can't really talk. Let's just find an empty one. Number 1. What better effect to start with than number 1? Oh yeah, color battens, excuse me. So there's a couple ways to do this. The easiest way I think right now, just for the sake of this example, is to grab my group of color strips. This is a symmetrical selection group, because remember, when you store a group, it also stores the selection order. Okay, so if I select everything in reverse order, starting at the last fixture and going to the first fixture, it's going to remember that if I store it to the group and call the group back. So this is actually, if I highlight through here, it actually follows like an interesting path. And let me just do blocks of 8 so you can see a little better. We'll change this to blocks of 8. So it starts on that first strip on the left, goes down the bottom row, cuts up through the middle, goes across, snakes around, like that. So if we grab LED symmetric and then right click on the effect pool, hit add, go to dimmer, confirm, that it already made an effect. That's already made a default sine wave effect. So turn these off. So now it's just going in a circle kind of looking thing. But that's not always the most interesting thing. So if we add a wing of 2 and then call the effect again, because there's a bug in this software version, you can see that it's doing a symmetric dimmer effect. And this is like literally 2 button presses, and it's a sine wave. If I want to just change it to a flash, so it's like a on-off type effect, change it to pulse width. And then there's another trick to get out of this stupid bug. If you hit blind twice, so if you pop into blind and pop out of blind, then it starts working again. We could also do something like a group of 8. Do blind again. So now you can see we kind of have this like scrolling chase type thing. And that's it. Then you can store this to a queue. So if I store this to this queue down here, so I clear it out, I'm no longer running the effect in the programmer. If I just hit go down here, the effect goes. And if I hit off, that goes off. And that's it. That's how you generate an effect from scratch. There's not, and this is a selective effect. So for example, and you should pretty much be using selective effects for anything that you want to be updating live. Selective effects update live, template effects do not update live. Why do I prefer individual speed masters versus BPM master number 16 and have it also react to music? It's just an extra step when you're doing, so like I've thought about doing this and it's just because I'm lazy at this point. There's no real other reason. I want to have one fader that is the BPM master fader, right? So if I change this one to 16, bam. Then it changes the BPM of, I think, like all effects. I'm not quite sure, actually. Is that what it does? But what you can do is then you can assign rates to your effects. So you can have a master BPM, like, okay, this song is 132. And then I want my dimmer effects to be running at quarter rate and my color effect to be running at half rate. I don't know. It's an extra step for me. It's just easy for me to have speed on a dim speed and a movement speed. That's it. I don't really care about too much detail on my dimmer speed. Yeah, that's one way of getting around the bug. Another way is to actually install a modern software version, not a dinosaur version. What else? Oh yeah, the login screen. So I'm just gonna save the show file real quick. And I'm gonna do a new show just to show you what it would look like. Totally blank show file. So right now we're logged in as admin. That's the default that you log in as. If you look under setup, you'll see your user is administrator. The reason administrator exists is so if you have any troubles with your show file, there's always a profile that you can log into and unfuck everything. So I'm logged in as admin on this new show that I'm actually going to save as admin login demo. Okay, so we have admin login demo. And I'm going to create a couple of pool items of macros. So we're going to go macro. And I'm going to create this on the main screens of an MA full size, which would be screen 1, 2, 3, and 4. Macros. And the reason this works is because views are one of the few things that actually obey user profiles. All right, so I have my macros set up, or at least my views set up for the macros. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to have this first macro be labeled login LD. And then I'm going to have a second one labeled login ME, master electrician. Fourth one, login guest. And then fourth one, which I guess I could do as, what could we do? Oh, and this is strange, is it not? Oh, it is working. Okay, my stream thing is just delayed. I'm dumb, that's it. Where is it? I can't quite see. Okay, it seems to be working just fine. Now there's something fucked up with my, I see what's going on. That's a really weird bug in XSplit that I just found. Okay, so we see we have my 4 empty macros. This first one, actually, I'm going to make the profiles first. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to user administration or user setup, and I'm going to first create a few profiles. And I'm going to call this first one LD. And then I'm going to have another one called playback. Another one called guest. Well, guest already exists. That's it just has playback rights. So I'm actually going to rename guest to master electrician. And then I'm going to also create users that are going to reference those user profiles. So the first one I'm going to call LD. I'll just call it LD with no password. We'll just well, we can set a password. We'll just do 1 2 3 4. Next one we will have playback or operator. We'll call it operator. And we're going to give him only playback rights. We'll have another one called programmer2. And we're going to have that guy or girl as programmer. We can also have our master electrician just call it ME. No, let's call it master electrician. Actually, you guys can't see this, can you? Oh, that sucks. Okay, I know why. I'm gonna have to swap out this 3D screen for a second. I'll trim this part out in the actual video. Actually, let's do this. Let's do it this way. So I'll change this to screen 3, and then we'll go here. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. All right, I'll show you what I just did. All right, we'll start over. I do need a dedicated monitor for the stream, I think. I already have 3 though, but that's just because MA requires a lot of windows. Okay, so here we have users and user profiles. You can have many different users referencing few profiles, if that makes sense. So I have a master electrician that I want to only be able to have setup rights. So the ME can get into setup but can't do any programming, right? The programmer can get into programming but can't do any playback. The operator can do playback but not any programming, if that makes sense. And then the LD has admin rights. So we're going to do LD, operator, programmer to master electrician. Let's see if I can remember here. LD, operator, programmer, ME. Okay, so now we have our 4 login macros, and we can edit these now. We'll add a line. I'll say login LD. And then I believe you do a space and then, well, you can either enter the password automatically or you can just have it say login LD, and then when you click on it, it'll prompt you for the password. I'm gonna save the show real quick. So if I do login LD, it's gonna prompt me for the password, which we did as 1234. And then I can log in. Then we'll do login ME, which had a user of master electrician. And then programmer 2. And then finally, operator. Whoops, what did I do? Oh, I didn't add a line, I tried to rename it. Login, and then in parentheses, operator. So now if I log in as LD, which I already was, it's going to change. You can see my user is now LD. If I log in as ME, I go into setup, my user is now master electrician. Same with programmer, now programmer 2. And then this one, what is this one? Operator. I have to rename this one. Oh, but I don't have user rights. That's the thing about some of these. When you have these different user rights, sometimes it can get annoying. Logging in and out and passwords, all that stuff. So this is only like a more advanced feature for when you want to piss people off on a festival. And now when I save this, I'm logged in as LD. So if I save this, my views are going to save like this as well. But I'm also going to change the start show. So when I do playback in MIB timing, move in black timing, I'm going to change the startup to say login administrator. I think, is it admin? No, it's login admin. Right? I always forget which it is. One of them is the password and one is the user. So the name is administrator and the password is admin. So we're going to do go to playback in MIB timing, login administrator space admin. So now, even if I'm logged in as LD 1234, save the show. If I load the show, it logs me in as administrator because I entered the password with that macro for the startup macro. In the arena show video, you were telling us what to do for the drop, how you were selecting those effects for the faders. I mean, I kind of just have all my intensities are on faders, all my colors are on the screen, all the positions are on the screen, and movement speeds, like effect speeds, are all on the faders as well. So I pull the lights down with the faders so you can't see what they're doing. Select a new color. You can't see what I'm doing with my fingers. Select a new color, select a movement, and then in that space of like 3 or 4 seconds, you select all those things, and then you bring the intensities back up, and it looks different to the crowd without them seeing you make the changes one by one. Anyways, so back onto this. So now we have the login thing set up. And now every time you load the show file, it's going to send you to this screen, and you're logged in as administrator, which gives you login rights. That's the whole point of logging in as administrator instead of just logging out. But now, since I've logged in as LD, I'm going to go in here and say, okay, I want a clock. I want playback big. I want to delete this. I want 2 playback bigs. And then action buttons over here. And then I want my presets over here as well. So now I'm going to store this. So now when I log, oh, I just did it again. Oops. Okay, so this is kind of what I want my, say what I want my LD screen to look like. This would be awful. But, so I save the show. Now when I log in for the show, or I load the show, it's still gonna, why did it not do that? I was logging in as administrator. Of course, I just totally fucked it up. Is there a way to clear all screens with, on PC, or is there not? There is a way, isn't there? I think you use the nipple button, right? The encoder settings. Where's encoder settings? There it is. Clear all, oh, clear all screens. I'm gonna reset the macros here. Oops, that's not a macro. So now I'm logging as LD. Prompts me for the password because I didn't put it in the macro. Double check that I'm actually logged in as LD, which I am. Let me see what our, maybe I had a different user profile. Oh, that's what it is. So I had them all set to the default profile. Which I don't want. I want the LD to be set to the LD profile, operator to be set to playback, programmer to be set to programmer, ME to be set to ME, and then I need to log out. And change. Access denied, of course. So I'm going to log in as admin. Then I can change user and profiles. My LD is now LD. And that should be it. Save the show. Load the show. Now when I log in as LD, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I can create my views. Action buttons. Action buttons. Action buttons. Save it. So now, load the show again. So every time I load the show, it's going to punt me back to this login page. If I say login ME, it's not going to give me anything. It's not going to give me any of the LD views. But if I log in as LD, 1, 2, 3, 4, then I have my action buttons back. And that's really all there is to it. Wow, we still have 50 people watching. It's like, it hasn't changed at all. So that's how you do the admin login thing. coming up on 3 hours. Thanks, dude. Thanks, Mosey. Is that what your name is? Mossy. Sorry. Thanks, Mossy. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And then if I want to change the LDs or the ME's view, let's go back there. Don't save. I'll log in as ME. How do you protect your show from having someone just log in as administrator? The way I do that is I have a separate profile for the LD, or a separate user profile for the LD that is labeled LD and not default, because the admin has the default user profile. So I don't put anything in the default user profile. I put everything in the LD user profile. So even if you log in as admin, which you actually are logged in as admin when you load my show file, it automatically logs you in as admin. But there's nothing in the admin user profile. There's just nothing there. So I'm logged in as ME right now. So maybe they just want to see a clock on this screen and do a command line over here. And then we'll do, what should we do? Universe pool. And we'll save that. That automatically saves to whatever user profile I'm set up as, which is Master Electrician right now. So if I log back in after saving the show, make sure I save the show, log back in. Now I have the choice. I can choose between LD, ME, programmer, operator. If I log in as ME, it's going to give me the ME view. If I log in as LD, it's going to ask me for password, give me the LD view. That's how it works. So now back to our regularly scheduled show file. So I'm loading my show file and it prompts me, it asks me, who do I want to log in as? If I log in as ME, the show file doesn't change, but it gives the ME some screens that they might find useful, like the universe screen and the DMX output sheet. Yeah, it doesn't change anything as far as protecting the data. They can still log in as administrator and export all my data, but they won't see any of the views. It's just a quick way of keeping someone from fucking too much with your shit. That's really all it is. You can't really password protect anything. The whole purpose of the tech support team doing that is so that they can help you. Yeah, we went from zero to spooky real quick. Worlds? I don't really use worlds that much, but think of worlds as restricting access, right? So if I only have, let me load into my user profile. Oops, wrong show. And now I have to actually log in. I do wish there was a way to bypass logging in to load a new show. CJ start show. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my playback screen. What was the question? Worlds. So I'm not the best at explaining worlds, but I will give it a shot here. Like I said, it's just really restricting access. So if I create a world, let's do, so show is like my current show lights. If I create a world that is, and worlds can either be fixtures or attributes. It can be a couple different things. Fixtures and attributes being the main thing. So if you want to restrict someone to only be able to program the spot fixtures, you can say group 1. I've selected group 1, which are my spots. If I store that to a world, and I'll label that my spots. If I call up that world, I will no longer have playback or programming control over that world. Or I will only have playback control over that world if I've selected it. So I won't have anything, I won't be able to do anything outside of that world. With the exception of, I think you can still control hard DMX values outside of that world. I'm not sure actually. Let's take a look. So what I'll do to test that theory, I'll pull up a DMX sheet. And let's see if we can change universe 1, address 1. Which is actually a spot fixture. Great. So let's do universe 11. I'll scroll to 11. So this DMX sheet shows you exactly what's coming out of the ports on the network. So yeah, you can control stuff with DMX tester outside of your world. But other than that, I mean, who would have thought that? Who would have, you know, considered that a thing to think about? Yeah, the viewers are slowly going down because I've been streaming for 3 hours and it's just mundane programming shit with weird questions. You had a problem with the show file on MA3D. When I open my fixtures, they don't seem to be open. On MA2, it says dimmer full, and I can see them pan tilt, but no lights. You probably have a multi-instance fixture. Which fixture is it? Or maybe your 3D settings are set incorrectly. Could be any one of those things. Let's see here. So if I do something like select channel through, and then store the gobo. So now I will only have access to the gobos of all of those, things like that. I think. I'm actually not sure on that one. I'm not that great with worlds, I'll admit it. I don't use worlds ever. The worlds is like convenient. Users also obey worlds. So if you have one user that is, and imagine it like this. You have one show file for a big corporate conference type thing. Everything's running off of one show file. For some reason, you need it to run off of one show file, whether or not like all the rooms combine into one eventually, situations like that. You have one show file, but 3 programmers. You can have programmer 3 be assigned to room 2, programmer 1 assigned to the main general session, and then a master electrician or another programmer doing another section. So they can each have independent control over their sections, be able to program everything, but not be able to interact with anything outside of their world. And then if like they take apart the dividers and they have a big dance party where it combines the general session and the 2 rooms flanking it, and they just like open the air walls and you want to control everything as one big dance show, Then you just go to the full world and you have control over all of the lights from one console, one user. That's why that's like the standard explanation of real worlds application. Yeah, learn MA. It's not that hard. Someone was asking about load and go to. I kind of went over this a little bit earlier, but that's okay. I'm planning on streaming for another hour. Probably only have like what? Yeah, 40 or 50 viewers. That's fine. This stuff isn't that interesting, so I'm not surprised. Any other immediate questions before I dive into load and go to? Meanwhile, I'm going to check my phone. Easiest way to make a layout of fixtures, select fixtures, store, click on the layout. It's a thing about MA is it's really straightforward, and like, you know, those questions are cool, like it's fine, but if you do a little bit of experimentation, like here I have my layouts and my layout pool, or my layout pool and my layout view. So if I take group 3, which is my Mac 101s, and I store them to an empty layout, and then I call that layout, it just inserts them all in a line. Okay. Then if I hit setup, I can then drag them around, select certain ones, drag them into position, however way I want to arrange them depending on what the rig looks like. And that's pretty much it. Then once you're done doing this, wow, that worked out really well. You just do zoom to fit, and now you have your layout. And you can see your chases and how all that works. Layout view is really pretty easy. As long as you have link selected in the layout view, in the title bar, then it's always going to follow whichever one you've clicked in the layout pool. That's it. Not MA concerned, but can you save a patch on an ETC Express 4896? I have no clue. I'm sure you can, though. If you're just starting with lighting, get Martin MPC. I'm 11. I can't afford $7,000. I'm 12, and what is this? Yeah, I mean, MA is free. If you learn the software, you can show up and use the console, just like you did when you learned on PC. That's how I did all this. I learned on PC first. I didn't learn on a console. Is there a way to make layout view show full dimmer value instead of actual output if your rig is dimmed? I think I asked this once from MA and they said no. I think if we do edit selected visualization Show dimmer value. I don't think. Oh, maybe if you do spot visualization. Maybe. Yeah, so if you do spot visualiz, no wait, that won't work. Sorry, I was doing the wrong fader. I was running the wrong fader up and down. None. I don't think you can. I asked them this before because I wanted, I had a club that had like 300 pixel mapped bars, and they were super bright, and they didn't want them very bright at all. So I like hard limited them to 25% with a DMX dimmer remote, or not remote, but dimmer profile. It just maxed out at 25. You couldn't go beyond that with the fixture profile. And actually, maybe that is a way to do it, because I don't know if I did. I don't think I did it that way actually. But no, long story short, you can't have the layout view ignore dimmer. It would be cool. That's like a feature request that I would ask MA for, is able to toggle dimmer visualization in layout views on and off. But I get why they don't, because it would be a thing where it would be confusing if it got left on or left off. Yeah, people should start with the .2 one for universe. You're right. That's a very good point. Would I let you download my show file? No, but you can take screenshots and make your own. How to use bitmaps? I don't on this show file. But you see where it says media files here? This is for my 3.2 show file, and it allows me to overlay those images and rotate them and do all sorts of stuff on the rig. I don't know what the sneak button does. Let's look. What does the sneak button do? No, I don't have any experience with XYZ. I need to learn it. Oh man, this is a sneak. Let me see here. I don't know. What is sneak? Someone explain. How else do you think the free universe would get out? Sorry, I don't mean to laugh at you. Sneak fades out your... I mean, it's just program time. So if I wanted to fade out a certain selection of vipers or like beams, I'm confused. Fades out, I mean, I can just select a group of fixtures, set my fade time to 5, fade out, and it'll fade out over 5 seconds. No, you don't need MA hardware for .2. You just need an ArtNet node or a fixture that accepts ArtNet. If you have a fixture that has an ArtNet input, then you just go straight into the fixture. I just don't get in what situation you would want to use sneak rather than just saying group 1 ... and it just fades them out in the programmer. Yeah, I guess. I I would just select the fixtures and put them at 0. You can even, yeah, so it's just like one button. So you just hit group 1 sneak and then it just goes away. So this is what I would do. I would make a macro that says macro. Let's go. Find an empty spot. Okay, I would just create a macro that says at 0 fade 5. So now I just do group 2. That's my sneak button. I'm just gonna call it sneak. Rest in peace. Oh, except my program time was up. Let me try that without. Select. Yeah. I just made a sneak button. What up, ETC? It puts them back to what's saved. Oh, so when you unsneak it, it also fades. Right? I'm baffled by this. I can't imagine. I just can't imagine when this would be useful rather than just doing it. I don't know. Sorry. I don't mean to be cold-hearted. And then if I wanted to do we're gonna do clear all, fade 5. I don't know, actually. I'm not gonna pretend that I know that one. Sneak without a value releases from programmer back to playback. Yeah, I've never done theater, so I guess I just do raves, dude. Just raves. Oh, one thing I didn't go over was the group master section. So this is actually it's a pretty common request from like tour managers and stuff. They'll ask that like the Mac 101s be brought down and like, you know, front light not be as bright. So that's how I have this group master thing set up. So I just select. I just really like how I have this all set up. It's like clear programmer with the default time. Oh, okay. Yeah, I just don't know. I can't think of a time I would like that feature. Have we dropped any frames? 0 dropped frames. I'm into it. Look at my CPU usage here. Probably not that high. I just got a 6 core in this computer. Performance. I'm utilizing 40% CPU with on PC and streaming 1080p at 3000 kilobits. It's not bad. It's like right where I want to be. Show us your setup. Yeah, if you're a theater person, this is not the stream for you. Oh, what else? What else would people like to maybe see? I have a bunch of color hits that hit hard and then kind of fade out to each like basic color mix value. So I have like a red, green, a blue, magenta, and yellow. So the yellow hits to yellow and then fades away. Same with all these other colors. It's like cool for like little extra like hits, and as long as you hold it, it'll stay, and then when you let go, fades out. Go to and load. Okay, this is good for positions mainly. So if I do go to, I don't really like, I'll just be honest, I don't use go to ever. I know some people who use it. I don't use it. With one exception. I do use go to with my effects modifier. So let's do an example with a move size thing. Make sure you can see this. Is this showing up as the same screen on all pages? That's annoying. See, there's like a weird bug with XSplit. It has to be. Like, why is it showing the same? This is really strange. It's not letting me switch screens. Like, I'm definitely... So display 4, screen 3. It's not, it's stuck. They're all stuck on the same screen. What the fuck? I don't know why this isn't working. This is so stupid. Display 2. What if I remove display 2? Well, I don't know what the fuck is going on with XSplit here. It's very strange. Look at that spooky spider. I don't know what to say, guys. I might actually call it quits here pretty soon. I've been streaming for 3 hours. I've explained about half of what I wanted to explain. I don't know why it took so long. In my head, I had envisioned this only taking an hour. And then I was going to spend the rest of the time just actually programming. Well, I think I'm going to cut this off pretty soon here. Now, I don't want to relaunch XSplit because then it cuts the stream off. So I think, and I'm pretty tired too. I haven't slept in a long time. So yeah, I am going to call it quits, I think, thanks to XSplit and me being too lazy. But mostly XSplit. Yeah, I want to do another live stream. I want to try to do it like once or twice a month. Yeah, I'm going to try OBS. How to assign color picking macros to MIDI buttons? If you have MIDI buttons, you just go, okay. Actually, I don't even know if you can see this. You can't even see this on my screen because it won't let me show you. Unless I go to screen 2. It's like all on screen 2. Like, what the fuck is this? Stupid. Alright, we're just going to look at screen 2. So, you go to remote input setup, MIDI remotes. Find whatever MIDI remote that you want to use, change it to a button, or actually I think you can just change this to a macro, right? Command. Enter the command. Go macro 1. Bam. That's how you assign a MIDI remote to a button. Or a macro to a MIDI remote. The daily events are, it's just like the same shit every day. I have like maybe like 3 cool shows a month that I could video log, but if I did every single one, I don't have the time to edit it, first of all. Don't have the time to edit it, and fixture placement and overall design. Oh, I could give you guys a little preview of what I'm working on for Halloween. Let me download it real quick. We're doing a Halloween show, and it'll be pretty cool. I'm actually really happy with how it's turning out. Download anyways. So I've been using Capture a lot lately. Yeah, the Halloween thing will be fully, like, it's gonna have pre-production video part. It's gonna be probably like a 15-minute video. All right, let's see if XSplit will play with Capture. It's not a big show, but it's my first like fully completely designed by myself show. So whatever. Let me turn off my ArtNet, because I think that's fucking with it. ArtNet output. Snapshots. iCandy. Let me pull up a different version. I think this one's kind of fucked. I'm not sure why. Let me just show you some renderings. I think the ArtNet from MA was fucking with that show file, which is fine. Let me just pull up. Let's do a screen cap. And now it won't even let me screen cap. Something is wrong with XSplit, I swear. Yeah, I don't know what to say. This is like totally fucked up. I can't even show you the fucking image on my screen. Yeah, I'm going to call it quits for now because XSplit is pissing me off in a big way. So, with that said, thanks for sticking around for the full 3 hours. I didn't get through nearly what I wanted to get through. But I'll upload this video for those of you who want to watch it. And I'm going to do like a little annotation thing that shows timestamps of where I explain stuff. So hopefully this wasn't a total loss. So in any case, thanks for watching. And I'll see you on the next stream and or video. All right, shutting it down now. Shut it down.